What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lock and Cash podcast. What a week it's been, bro. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just realizing how pale I look.
No, you look
on the
great.
camera. I'm the whitest guy in America.
You look good, man.
It's incredible. I need to get out more.
So, interesting weekend coming up. We're back in the studio again. Last week we were here, so we're going to make this regular. And we got NFL. We got no college football this weekend, so it's kind of weird except for the one Army-Navy game, but that's the only game. But a nice UFC card.
Are you doing the under?
I'll do a little tidbit on that, but the short answer, no. Okay. The number's too low.
What is it, 22
27 and a half. Okay. Yeah. There's a video, if you're watching this early, there's a video coming out on TikTok that's being worked on. The 27, the run that it's on is 45 and 10 to the under.
Yeah.
But if the total was 27 and a half, like 45 of those games would have gone over.
Okay.
So the edge is gone.
You know, though, I'm going to rewind back. One of the old podcasts, I think I literally asked you, if the line is 27, what would you do?
Right.
And I'm almost positive you said that you would still go under.
I definitely said that.
Yeah.
But that was before I checked the data.
And you know, for our audience, for the enjoyment of our audience, can you please get rid of your cough drop?
Why? You can hear it?
Yeah, they're going to hear.
Let me get rid of it. Hold on. I have a wrapper.
We'll just do a cut.
I came prepared. Don't even cut it.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Yeah. All we're going to hear the entire podcast is
all right. Fair point. It's gone now.
Okay.
But yeah, if the 27 and a half is just super low. Yeah. Super low. Books have adjusted. You just got to admit, not everything lasts forever. Yeah. We'll see what it is next year. The other two games were in the 30s this year. Yeah. They both went under. We'll see. Watch a 10-7 final.
Yeah, it's going to be.
That's what it's going to be. But yeah, coming off, well, let me ask you this. Did you watch the absolute barn burner last night on Thursday Night Football?
I did. I had Jalen Warren on my fantasy team, so that was the only reason why I decided to watch that game.
How many points did you end up with?
6.5 PPR.
Not bad.
I'm going against Najee Harris, who got 6.3, so
that's not a push. By my standards, 6 that's pretty high.
Yeah, you know, Zappy looked better than I thought. Mm-hmm. But man, is that Pittsburgh offense bad?
It's bad.
It's not Matt
really
Canada.
Bad. No, it was not.
It's not.
Poor guy got canned. And he wasn't the problem, I don't think.
He was not, dude. It was like, we're talking about Trubisky on there, and they're like, listen, you know, one of the reasons that we're so happy with this roster is, you know, we have a veteran quarterback, you know, just in case anything happens.
Right.
And Mitch Trubisky, you know, he has snaps, and then he drops back, and he literally throws it. You know, it's like sort of like a bubble screen, and he just launches it straight at a Pats defender, and it just bounces off the Pats defender's chest.
I saw that.
I was like, yo, you can't make this up, man.
Did you see the hilarious meme where it's like the Steelers need 2 yards? It was like 3rd and 2, and then it's a clip of like Michael Vick launching the ball out the stadium. It's like Mitch, and it says Mitch Trubisky.
with like a Nerf football. Yeah, dude, it's insane. They needed 2 yards, and they let him launch it at 30 yards downfield.
Well, we were happy. We had the Pats +6, and the Pats outright +215. Mm-hmm. So that was a good hit. A 2-10 team. They've lost to a 2-10 team 2 weeks in a row now. The Steelers. Cardinals, and then the Patriots. Yeah, they're a bad team disguised as a playoff team.
Yeah, George Pickens looks like he hates Pittsburgh.
He does.
Pickens got up and he like slipped on the dirt, and he was like, man,
stupid ass dirt. I saw that. Yeah, and you see him in the end zone when they didn't get the 4th down. He's like, oh, and then he's taking off running plays. He's just standing there, Dude, not blocking at all.
He looks like me in like high school when we got like blown out by one of the best teams in the league by like 40, and you're just like, when can I go home?
Well, I just want to get out of here. Yeah, that's what he looks like. Yeah. Yeah, poor guy. I don't know. We'll see what happens with them, but good night for us. We actually swept the entire board. We swept the NBA too. Mm-hmm. Had the under come in the Pacers Bucks game, and then we hit the Lakers.
The Lakers big,
and then that brings us to what we're going to start off with, man. Might as well start off with the first ever
NBA Cup Finals.
The first ever NBA Cup Finals.
The thing that I can care the least about. On this entire sheet of paper. It's
been kind of fun, though.
For you.
I've loved, so far, I think the NCAA tournament has been a success.
Okay.
Yeah. The group play was kind of weird, I'll say.
It's so weird.
It was like tough to follow, and teams were still sitting players. And
right. It's like,
but once it got to the actual tournament, it's been decent.
True.
Yeah,
I watched
been
most
good.
of the group play. I didn't catch a lot of the tournament, but
the quarterfinals were decent. Last night's semifinals were pretty good. I mean, second game was a blowout, but the first game was good, and I think tomorrow's gonna be a good game. I think so. It's Lakers. I mean, it's Adam Silver. Got to be happy. On one side, you have the Lakers in the NBA Cup, in the first ever NBA Cup finals.
CRF videos.
So it's perfect.
The reason why.
Yeah. So it's perfect,
and
right?
That happens.
And then on the other side, you kind of have a curveball.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers in the Cup finals. No one really expected that.
Besides you, I think.
No, we didn't have. I had them over the. I liked them to win in that Celtics game, but I did not think they would beat the Bucks. But they beat them up. And so, yeah, like quarterfinals, they knock out Boston. Semifinal, they knock out Milwaukee. Consensus, those are the two best teams in the East.
Right.
So Indiana's on a tear, dude. And Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think anyone, he was good.
Yeah.
But he's like right now currently playing at like the best point guard in the NBA.
Yes.
Like superstar status. So we'll see what happens. They still don't play in defense though. And I think that's what's going to bite them tomorrow. Like I just talked them up and now I'm going to bet against them. We're going to take the Lakers -4. Yeah. But Lakers is for me is the pick. But even before the tournament started, like going into the quarterfinals, I like them to win it. They're the highest rated defensive team out of anyone that's made it in. And I think that one thing that's helped here is that like if the average bettor or maybe even the book might overlook a little bit is that neutral court aspect because this game's in Vegas and the games last night were in Vegas. On a neutral court, like we always talk about in football, how defense travels more. Defense is just pure effort. The Pacers don't play any defense, right? And by the way, I know people think Milwaukee's a good defensive team. They're not. Like trading for Lillard and getting rid of Drew Holiday ruined their defense.
Correct.
So they right now are giving up a ton of points. So that's why in that game with the Pacers, it was just like whoever's going to stay hot from three is going to win. And Lillard was missing shots in the first half, and the Pacers just did not miss shots. They just kept making shots. But the Lakers have a lot of wing defenders they can throw at him. And then they got LeBron and AD. The thing is, what I wrote in the write-up to the subs yesterday for the Pelicans, he was like, LeBron and AD are the two best players on the floor on both. So like that's the same thing in this game. Right. It's kind of a big advantage. Yeah. You have the two best players that are right now healthy, and LeBron only played 23 minutes last night, 30 points in 23 minutes, got to sit the whole game in a blowout. It's almost like it was meant to be.
I mean, listen, LeBron is, first of all, just an ultra competitor, and that guy doesn't want to lose like a game of Halo. You know, so when it comes to this, being able to win the first in-season tournament, probably in one of his last seasons in the NBA. Exactly. Maybe his last in-season tournament. Who knows? Yeah. I think it's going to be a big deal. And I do think LeBron, the league wants LeBron.
The league wants LeBron to win. Yeah. That's why I was saying Adam Silver, this is like a great scenario for him. Yeah. You have the Lakers in, they're favorites. They should win the game. Now, there's like teams like the Pacers are always dangerous because it's like high variance, right? High risk, high reward. They're going to chuck a ton of threes. If those threes go in, you're kind of screwed. Right. All right. But the Lakers do a good job. They're like top 10 in the league defending the perimeter, and they're a top 5 defense overall. And that's why I would say defense, like on a neutral court, maybe where a regular shooter might have issues with the sight lines or just not be comfortable. Defense is just effort.
And who knows if this is a big spot or not for these players? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they're viewing this. I don't know if they're viewing this like this is like a high pressure playoff game, or if they're looking at this like this is like my AAU tournament game because it does. This last finals game does not count towards the regular season standings. Correct. So outside of the accolades, and the prize, like this doesn't count towards anything for the season, right? No, so I don't know how these players are actually going to view this game.
It's the bread, it's the money, and it's just getting to hoist the trophy, I guess. Did you see LeBron after the game? The little tidbit. No. They said he took a charge at some point in the game. They're like, "Aren't you a little old to be taking charges?" And he said, "Not for that $500K, I ain't." So that was funny. That went viral after the game.
I was about to say, I was like, does LeBron need 500,000?
Yeah. But a good point that some people have made is that the guys that don't necessarily need it could be motivated to get it for like the 11th and 12th man on the bench. Right. Who to 500K is a lot for them.
It's a lot.
I think the money is definitely part of it, but I think this is more of like the glory of the first cup. Right. This is a special one, right? Yep. And who knows? Maybe they name it the LeBron James Trophy. That's what a friend of our friend OG had that idea. Name it if they win the LeBron James.
That would be, first of all, apt. I mean, you can't, and it could only happen if he wins, right? Because you can't.
True.
Where are you going to name it? The Tyrese Halliburton, like the Halliburton trophy?
No, and you can't name it LeBron if he lost it. It's like, it's kind of weird.
Right.
If he wins, though, perfect. Adam Silver should jump on that.
Yeah.
Like, this is the regular season LeBron James trophy, or call it the LeBron James Cup, whatever.
Adam Silver.
If you're watching, which I know you are.
Which you're one of the 400. That's a free one. You're going to have to sign up for the rest. But
so, yeah, Laker, long story short, even just look at the quarterfinals and semifinals, they held the Suns to 103 points with Booker and with Durant.
Yep.
They held the Pelicans to 89 last night. So in 2 games, less than 200 points allowed in today's NBA. Their team is trying on defense. And I think that's going to be the difference. Lakers -4. I think they win and cover the first cup.
Lakers -4.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take a break from team sports.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to jump into
MMA.
So I think we did good just on raw picks last week. I think we hit like 4 or 5 out of 6.
Right.
We missed a few. We were 1-1 on the podcast, so we're gonna try to go 2-0 this week.
We got it.
This week is another one of those like show off the prospect cards. They're leaning heavy into Southeast Asia. This card, bringing up a lot of South Korean, Chinese fighters, which is always great to see. You know, the international prospects.
But this is Vegas, right?
It's going to be in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah. But the card is, they're definitely bringing in those camps.
Gotcha.
In MMA, they usually bring in like camps of multiple fighters for cards. So people may not know this, but when you look at any one MMA, like UFC card, one camp will have, 3 to 5 fighters on it. When Israel Adesanya is fighting, that whole gym is there fighting as well. So it just really helps for preparation. It helps for travel logistics, especially when they're international. So that happens a lot. So we're getting a lot from the same camps here. We have 2 fights that I want to talk about.
Yes.
Neither is going to be the main event, but we have some interesting ones. So the first one is going to be Tim Elliott against Sumaderji. Tim Elliott, who just had a very recent fight, I believe at the end of October, where he fought Makayev, and we picked Makayev by submission. I think we hit that one.
Yeah.
So Tim Elliott, wrestler, high volume wrestler, not hands okay, but he makes his money chain wrestling. He makes his money grinding you out. Has a really good jiu-jitsu game. Sumadarji, clash of styles. Awesome striker. Very deadly on the feet. Can't really defend the takedown, though. And I know we hit this last week when we were talking about, Kelvin Gastelum and, and all that. So on this one, we have a couple of red flags, though.
Okay.
Usually we look at the clash of styles. We say wrestler versus striker. Can't defend a takedown. You're not going to win the fight. There are some red flags. We got Tim Elliott. He has a 5.5 reach disadvantage on this one. He's also 9 years older.
Ooh.
So now we're looking at
the age system, bro.
Now we're looking at the age system. Now we're looking at the reach advantage system. And I'm saying I don't care. I don't care, Jeff. I don't.
Gotcha.
Tim Elliott, what we saw when our last time Sumadarji fought, God, I'm blanking on the fighter's name, but we bet on him. Sumadarji beat the brakes off of him for the first 2 rounds. And then we started seeing the wrestling come in, and the guy was not even that much of a wrestler, was able to take him down, finish it on the ground, right? And Tim Elliott is a savage.
Yeah.
So I think Tim Elliott's going to keep his head clean. I think he's going to out-wrestle him, either win by decision or win by submission. And that's what we're going with there. I think I think it's going to be too much. He has too cardio. The tank is too high. Chain wrestling's too good. Sumadarji was taken down by lesser wrestlers in the past and lost. That's not to say that Tim Elliott can't go for a takedown and catch a knee to the face, but
he is favored in this fight.
He is.
So that's I don't know about your stance on like sus or trap lines in MMA, but like if I'm looking at like a football game, and like I got these systems like going against me, but that side is still favored, I'm kind of like, seems a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ever have that feeling?
No,
yeah.
I think people are kind of just a little bad at betting MMA. So
the lines are off a little bit, you think? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I was talking to Justin on this one, who's on our team, does a lot of the UFC breakdowns.
Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, breaking down film all day. And he is like, this line should be switched with the Gutierrez line. Like, he should be minus 300 in this one. And I think we're seeing that these systems and these statistics are bringing it down when they look at the age difference, when you look at the reach disadvantage. But reach disadvantage goes out the window when you're wrestling.
True.
And you guys are pressed up against each other.
Good point.
The age is still a little scary, which I think is bringing down the number. But like overall, you know, just looking at the tape and just looking at the styles, Justin's over here saying like this is minus 300. This is minus 250. This is not minus 125, minus 135 fight, which it is right now. Yeah. Which is why we see a ton of value on Tim Means.
Sweet.
So we're taking that Tim Means money line. Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott minus 135. Shout out to Dirty Bird though.
Tim Elliott. All right, Tim Elliott. Yeah, and I think that's an interesting thing that you mentioned, like the age thing. Like, there's definitely a difference between like age being a disadvantage versus being like an experience advantage.
Right.
And I think it goes to the style, like the matchup.
Right.
So if it's going to stay on the feet, maybe you worry about the stamina or endurance of the older. But if it's going to be a grappling game, which is, if you're savvy, you can do what you need to do no matter what you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think Tim Means also has a great gas tank for a 36-year-old. Yeah. Like, he was chain wrestling Makayev basically like the entire fight. And he was getting beat in all those positions, but he never stopped going for it, right? So over 3 rounds. And Sumadarji was not defending takedowns in his last fight.
Gotcha.
Basically, to the fact where I don't think that he's gained that experience over, the last 6 to 8 months to even, bring that out in this fight and show off a new set of skills. So
gotcha.
That is that one.
Kicking it off with Tim Elliott then. I like it. Minus 130.
Man,
right around minus
he's only
130.
36.
Yeah.
I'm 34. I still feel okay.
Brother, I feel like I'm 58. All right. I know you're also looking at our boy Muniz.
Yeah. So
versus Park.
So
it's been a while since he fought, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Muniz fought Paul Craig.
That's right.
In the summer.
Yes. Yeah. So and lost.
He did.
Yes. Yeah. And he was a big favorite in that fight.
He was. Yeah. He was. And we had Craig.
We had Craig in
that one. So this one's gonna hurt because I don't particularly like Muniz as a fighter, and I love Jung Young Park. So he's like one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah.
And we've made a ton of money off Park. But I think stylistically, this fight is going to be a problem for Park. This is a very tough fight.
Interesting.
There's a couple of things going for it. One, Park is primarily a boxer. Primarily has like a upright, close stance. He is a good grappler, but he makes his money boxing, right? We've seen him get taken down by guys like Eric Anders a ton in the fight, a couple fights ago. Fluffy Hernandez has taken him down before, and we've seen him struggle there, right? He out-grapples people who have no grappling experience. So he's like one of those guys. If you're really good at grappling, you can beat Park. If you have no grappling experience, Park is going to be able to take you down, right? And sort of mix that into his game. But Muniz is an excellent grappler. He's super big for the division. And he is a killer on the ground, right? So you combine that with having a 5-inch reach advantage on Park. So Park is going to have to get on the inside on this fight to land his shots. And when he closes that range, he's going to open himself up to being able to be taken down, right? Because you're not going to be able to stand on the outside of Muniz and just pick him apart. Got 5 inches. So if you're just going to stand there and strike, Muniz has 5 inches on you. If you come inside, Muniz has the opportunity to take you down, and he's pretty big. And Park has shown that he has decent grappling, but he has the ability to get taken down. So with that, we think that this is going to end up on the floor, and I think Muniz is going to probably get the submission here.
Interesting.
But he is a dog, so We're looking at plus 145. I forgot to write that down.
Plus 145. Yep.
Yeah, so he's plus 145. So I think there's a good value here. I think it's a really tough matchup for Park. I think we can see a submission. We can see grinding out a victory on the mat.
Yeah.
To decision, but plus
145.
Or 5.
And it's like we should definitely mention, like one of the things, like you said, Park is one of your favorite fighters. You like to bet on him. But at the end of the day, the line's got to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I could love betting on the Chiefs every week.
Right.
Minus 600, minus 500 money line every week. But if it's not right, it's not right. So
yeah. And
if there's value on the dog, there's sometimes you just take it.
And one of the things, Muniz was the dark horse of this division for a while. So he's dropped 2 in a row, right? To really good guys. One to Brendan Allen, who just beat our boy and is calling for a title shot. One to Paul Craig, who's disgusting on the mat, right? And a very big middleweight. And he's dropped 2 in a row. He's seeing himself slide out of the rankings.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, motivational spots here, he has more motivation than anybody right now to get a win.
A little undervalued in the market, right? Yeah, that happens quickly. Once people see you get beat up a few times, you're left for dead. Yeah, exactly.
He was coming in, he was murdering people.
Yeah,
you were like, oh my God, this guy could fight for the championship.
Interesting.
But dropping 2 in a row.
There you go.
Fell out, but
that's where we come in.
Yeah.
Muniz with plus 145. I like it. Dope. All right, so that's 2 MMA picks that will hopefully go 2-0 this weekend. They will go 2-0. They will. Love it.
To existence.
All right. Well, let's switch back over. Actually, we haven't done NFL yet, so let's get to the NFL portion. And I want us to start off this NFL portion. I have a game pick that we'll get to, but before we get to the game pick, I wanted to issue a weekend weather warning because there's a lot of high wind games this weekend. And what do we know about high wind games? We like to bet the under, right?
How high, though?
Exactly. We like to bet the under, right? But my warning here for everybody watching is the books have adjusted. I'm saying that very clearly right now. You're going to see a ton of coverage this weekend by whoever it is, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, about how to hammer these unders because of the high winds. There's supposed to be 20-mile-per-hour winds during the Texans-Jets game.
I mean, the Jets weren't going to be able to throw the ball.
Doesn't matter anyway. Yeah,
it could be 50 mile an hour.
You shoot it down on the first game. I got like 6 games here on the list. The first game, you're like, doesn't matter.
Why don't you you might as well put a tornado in the stadium. Okay,
they'll have a better chance.
We got Zach Wilson starting.
Zach Wilson's back. He's back.
He doesn't want to play. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Whenever
you talk about the Jets, I'm like,
yeah. So
what are we talking overs in the Jets game? How many points is the other team going to score then? If we're gonna,
they might go over by themselves maybe with CJ Stroud. But I feel your pain on that one. But Texans Jets high winds, right? Then you got the Jags in Cleveland, a bunch of high winds. The Ravens and the Rams. What's that?
What a backup quarterback?
I'm going to get to that. Yeah. So Browns, Jags, Ravens, Rams, Bears, Lions, a divisional game. So all of these games, right, have very high winds. And you want to bet the unders. Let me just give you the totals for these games. Okay. Let me pull it up.
Let me guess.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Let me guess.
Perfect. So Texans, Jets.
12. 20.
14 and a half. Imagine.
20.
You going 20s? Okay.
30 and a half.
It's 33 and a half.
Okay. That's high.
You think it's high?
Yeah, I just saw
33 is so low.
Yeah, but we were looking at
with CJ Stroud. He's gonna score
with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe he comes back rejuvenated. But just to give you guys an idea of now, I get it. It's hard to bet a Jets over. Like I'm not saying to bet the over. I'm just saying to be careful of these lines because that game opened 38 and a half. It's now 33 and a half. What about Lions Bears? What would you guess? That's a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah. 38 and a half.
43 and a half.
43.
You're going way low.
Well, because I'm assuming they adjusted. So I'm taking
I shouldn't have said that. I blew it. Yeah,
I'm taking my line and I'm dropping it down.
I shouldn't have said that. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Jags Browns is the lowest one. It's crazy low.
30 and a half.
32 and a half. Okay. And you have, what was the other one that I said? Oh, Rams Ravens is sitting at 40 and a half. But what I want to point out when I say the books have adjusted, Rams Ravens opened 45. That's dropped 5 points. Ooh. The Jets line has dropped 5 points. The Bears Lions line has dropped 3 points, but at key numbers, 46 for totals and 47. That's a key number. So it went 47 to 43. At the Jaguars Browns dropped over 10 points. 44.5 was the opening line. I think that line.
Joe Flacco.
I think that line assumed. I think that line assumed that Lawrence was going to play, and it dropped. But
wait, what game was that?
Jaguars Browns.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the point I'm trying to drive home is that like these games, and a lot of these games have backup quarterbacks in them. Backup quarterbacks, defenses have less tape on. You can do as much scouting as you want. It's harder to predict what Jake Browning is going to do than what Joe Burrow is going to do. Mm-hmm. Like in a net, like not in like the worst way. I'm just saying like it's more unpredictable. So it creates a higher variance situation, right? Versus like with Burrow, it's like, all right, I know I'm going to get 24 to 27 points, let's say. But with Browning, I could get 10 or I can get 30 like they did on Monday Night Football.
I know, I started the Jags
So,
defense.
so like you don't know what you're going to get because there's so little prep you can do on them. So the backup quarterback situations create variance, and these numbers are crazy, dude. Like this is the first week, I think it was, in over 20 years where there were 2 games that had totals less than 34 in the NFL. So we had last night's game on Thursday Night Football, which, by the way, went over in the first half.
Yep.
And then you have 32.5 for the Jags-Browns. So, yeah, these are good defenses. Scoring is down across the NFL. But the warning is these lines are really low. Like this could be a week where I could see all these overs hitting. So you got to be like this year's last season's like average line of like 41, 42 is down to like 37, 38 this year. And that's the difference between like the 21 to 17 scores. That's a win last year. It's a loss this year. So even though we're talking about 2-3 points, if you're like, what's 2-3 points? The difference between you winning and losing is 2-3 points.
Yeah, it's like an entire possession. It's an entire score.
Totally. So I personally, and we probably even have a hand in this because we've posted videos about like high wins take the under. Unders are over 65% this year. And those videos get hundreds of thousands of views. And then those start to perculate throughout the industry. You know what I mean? They start to percolate.
Watching. Yeah. If your Vegas keeps scrolling, like.
So we post those, right? Let's just say, for example, but then like you have people on Twitter posting about them. You have Action Network posting about them. FanDuel posting. The unders have hit 68% this year. Primetime unders, by the way, 3 in a row have hit over in primetime. So, primetime unders are 70% this year. So all of this starts to percolate throughout the market and the industry. And then the books start to see all that under action come in. So what do? Next week, they start to slowly tick, 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 tick until the overs start hitting. And this week just feels like you got a lot of games in the 30s this week, which is scary to me if I'm betting an under. Like usually I love sniping an under if everything's like normal and there's one game in the 30s and I'm like, that game's low for a reason. But when they're all down there, the markets have adjusted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the warning. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. Just be careful. Jets under. 10 unit max. Super max.
No. But what games are you looking at on this slate that you like? Are there any unders that you think are actually high value? What are you looking at here for the NFL slate?
So yes, even though we just made fun of the Jets, I would still look at the Jets unders. I think is a good play at 33.5. Only because if that number drops though, 32, it sounds so hilarious. 32 is a key number when we talk about totals because of the 17-14 final. 31.5 you win, 31 you push on that, right? So like if 33.5 right now, I think it's an okay play, but it's hard to say that any of these have a lot of value.
Right.
I'll tell you right now that the Lions-Bears game is a game that I think goes over. The last time it's 43.5 right now. The last time they played, it flew over, and the Bears outplayed them for like 55 out of 60 minutes in that game, and it took a crazy comeback for the Lions to win. So I like that over, and I like the Bears in that game outright, actually. But that's one that I might look to the under. I think that Jags-Browns game is just too, unless the wins are really what they say they are, it's going to be like 15, 20 mile per hour wins. I don't know. I think DTR at home should be better than he was on the road. And yeah, it's just too low. 32.5 is just a scary number.
I haven't been keeping up on the Browns situation. They're putting DTR in over.
I believe he's back in, if I'm not mistaken.
Over Joe Flacco?
Yeah. Oh, is it Flacco starting? I'm not sure. Well, either way, they're going to be better at home. You're probably right. I think it's Flacco. Yeah. Well, is DTR still hurt?
Dude, I don't care about the Browns.
I should have checked, but I didn't check.
I care so little about the Browns that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Flacco, but either way, the situation should be more comfortable at home. Right. And he played, he didn't play too bad on the road at LA.
Yeah,
they lost the game, but they were in it for a while. So the Rams ran that final score was misleading. The Rams got like a couple garbage time touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, so if to answer your question, the one I would look at is probably Jets Texans. You're like, yeah, I know. Trust me, I know.
D'Amico Ryans can go on the field and play middle linebacker and intercept Zach Wilson.
Probably true. Probably true.
I start feeling old now because I'm seeing, we saw Mike Vrabel and
I know
Ryans. Now we're seeing all these people that we saw play football like live, and I was like playing in Madden and trading for these people.
Yep.
And
it's
now
crazy.
they're the head coach of football teams. I'm like,
how wild is that, right?
Oh my god,
it's pretty freaking wild. It really is. Yeah, It goes quick because these guys retire and they instantly want to. They don't want to take time off. They just want to get right. They have like such an itch, and they're like
even people like Tyrone Lue in the NBA. Like I used to trade him off every team.
Get rid of this guy.
Dude had the worst 3-point shot in the game.
Adrian Griffin on the Bucks feels like he was just playing. It's crazy. All right, and then I'll get into a game pick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Pick of this week. So every week when we do this, I like to highlight like a situational spot, and this slate is kind of lacking a little bit with those. I loved the situational spot last night for Thursday Night Football,
right?
But obviously we're recording the day after, so. But I think we could look at the AFC West, a divisional game between the Broncos and the Chargers. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I want to point out about the Chargers is, like, we always try to find over or undervalued teams in the market. And I don't necessarily think that Denver is undervalued right now, but I think the Chargers are overvalued.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I look at their wins, right? They have 5 wins this season. Raiders, week 1. The Vikings, right? Which they won on the last play of the game. Then they beat the Bears, the Giants, and the Patriots. They don't have an impressive win to me this year. Mm-hmm. And we know the other issues with receivers dropping balls. Herbert's good. He's always going to have a chance. But last week, how unimpressive were they? A 6-0 win over the Patriots. Right. And then Denver goes to Houston, which in our early leans video, I said I would lean Texans. They won and covered. But the Broncos, last play of the game, had a chance to win. Right. Russ was getting pressured. He had to chuck it up in the end zone. It ended up being actually not a terrible throw. It was a 50-50 ball. Mm-hmm. It gets picked and they lose. So they lose by 5. But if they score there, they win the game. Game over.
And they've been hot outside of that.
Yeah, so that they've won 5 out of their last 6. That ended the 5-game winning streak. And that's another thing that I always look for. Like I said, I would have faded them last week in the early leans video because they were getting so much like good fortune during that 5-game win streak.
Right.
But as soon as the win streak ends, here's what always happens. A lot of hype happens, right? People are like, the Broncos have won 5 games in a row. Russ is back. Sean Payton fixed the team. Okay. Then everybody loves it, and they run to bet it last week plus 3.5. You're getting 3 in the hook, right? Too good to be true almost. Mm-hmm. Now they lose and they don't cover. Now all those people that got burned by that are now like, all right, on to the next team. Who's hot now? Like, forget. Mm-hmm. But then I like to go back and be like, oh, no. Now I want them. Now I want them. Right. After a brutal loss.
Dip.
Yeah, exactly. Now after like a brutal loss, I want them. Now in a game where really it was like not misleading, but they played well. They were in that game. So especially in the second half. First half they kind of got like came out flat. But I also want to like this line plus 2.5 to the Broncos. Road divisional underdog. That's a system over the last 5 years, hitting at 57%. Short road underdog. So any team on the road, guys, if you're watching this, any team on the road that's less than plus 3 on the road, you could blindly bet those teams, generally speaking, and be a profitable sports bettor. It's crazy because once you adjust for home field, you find value there. And I especially like to do this on teams that I think don't have a great home field, and that's what we have in this game. You could argue there might be just as many Broncos fans at this game, West Coast, as Chargers fans.
What about that one lady from the beginning of the season? You don't think she's going to be
there?
What
was her name again?
I don't know. She was going nuts.
The lady was going, I forgot her name. She might be there, maybe. She probably will be there.
If she's there, then we got to watch
We're
out.
Screwed.
By the way.
Cut this out of the podcast.
I mean, Short Road Dogs. We could just end this thing right now. It's just like, do the Short Road Dogs. Stop watching.
Just do Short Road Dogs, and you don't need anything from us.
Why are you watching us? Go. Do something.
But so but you're right though. If she's there, this might be dead. But
check the 90-minute actives and see if she's on.
Last thing I'll say about it is I like the money line.
Yeah.
Because the plus 2.5, yeah, sure, it could end up 2. It's very unlikely. I think plus 120. So this is another thing that real quick, like money line prices matter. They do matter because a lot of people don't know this. Depending on how it takes more money to move a point spread near the key number. So this is sitting at 2.5. To get this to 3 requires a large amount of money to flood into the market on LA, right? But if the Chargers are like minus 130, to get them from minus 130 to minus 140, while the spread is still 2.5, requires not as much money because it's the key number that matters. So the Broncos probably won't get to 3 in this game, which is why I'm saying just forget the spread. It's probably not going to get up to 3, but the money line right now is plus 120, right? You could have a 2.5, but the money line be plus 110, plus 108. But right now it's at the higher end of the money line while still sitting on the 2.5 because they don't want to give you the field goal.
Right.
And that's why I like the money line because you're getting the maximum money line value at the 2.5 number. You know what I'm saying?
You see, that's why you should stay
saying?
watching.
See what I'm saying?
See? It's like
that's.
You gotta,
I'll be honest. That's something that you'd never see anyone talk about that. That's important. Their money line ranges at each number. So like at a plus 3, the money line could be between plus 125 to plus 140. And that's a big difference over like 5 years of betting.
Exactly.
We've been doing this for like almost 5 years. Like that's a big difference. If you get all of those at plus 135 versus plus 125, that adds up to units in your pocket, like real units.
And that compounds over time, especially if you're doing bankroll management where you're betting a certain percent every single time.
Exactly.
That is money in the bank. That's like it's like going to a savings account and opening up one for 2% when you could have went down the street and opened one up for 4%. It's like, you could do both.
Yep.
But one is an obviously smarter decision with
your money.
money.
And it takes no extra effort. So, so the money line is the one that I would lean to in that spot. Like if the money line price was lower, I might say the points would be more valuable. But I see a lot of value on that plus 120. So I think Denver just wins the game, dude. Like straight up. Like I think they have a huge coaching advantage. I think Russell Wilson is obviously having objectively a great year.
Yeah.
And the defense is playing well. I don't see any reason why they can't win that game. So I think there's value on the Broncos. And by the way, before we wrap up, can I just say real quick? Remember I don't know if you remember. We dropped the video in the summer, 3 divisional picks. And what was it for? Oh, the Lions at plus 140 was the pick. They're now like minus 10,000, whatever it is, right? Because no one else is really in it.
Yeah.
The second one was the Jets, but it was before Rodgers tore his Achilles. They were plus 260. Honestly, if he was healthy, they'd be right in it. Miami's 9-4.
I agree.
Or 9-3, whatever. They'd be right in it.
No, there's a bunch of games that they could have won with a real quarterback.
Right? Exactly. And Buffalo's 6-6. So it'd be a 2-team race right now versus what you thought it was going to be, which is a 3-team race. And then the third pick was the Broncos. And they're not going to win it. The Chiefs are 8-4, but they're 6-6 in second place. They're 2 games ahead of the Chargers and 2 games ahead of the more than 2 games ahead of the Raiders.
Yep.
But it's not going to cash. But did you even think they'd be in second place?
I mean, yeah, I took that. But
I'm just saying, we definitely foresaw some value on the Broncos this year.
I agree.
After the Hackett experiment was atrocious.
The Hackett experiment is still atrocious.
And it's just in New York now.
It's just continuing. It's a Hackett roadshow of destruction now on offenses in the league.
Fair.
By the way, the Broncos didn't look too great in the beginning of the season either, but, new coach.
It takes time.
New time to adjust to a system, so we'll give them that. But, yeah. Honestly, maybe we could just follow Hackett, and maybe can we do Hackett unders? Can we just
Hackett unders?
Can we just find Hackett unders
as an OC and a coach?
Yeah, we might have to look at that and just exclude the MVP years from Aaron Rodgers. I got
to see if in our database we have. I don't think you have OC. I think you only have coach.
Yeah,
coach and QB.
Right. Damn, we have to find that Hackett unders.
We have to manually.
If you guys in the comments, if we have a quant in the that just really likes us for the entertainment value. Please.
You'll Hackett unders, please.
We need Hackett unders.
Oh, my gosh.
Cool, man.
All right, so the Broncos is the kind of like my situational spot of the week in a divisional game. So that was all I had. You got anything else?
Any pocket change parlays?
You know what? Let's take a quick
I'll cook one up right now.
I'll cook one up right. Yeah, I mean, it's... so last week we didn't get to post them, but we had 2 on the full card parlays that were given out. So Rams 49ers hit, and then Rams 49ers and Titans missed in overtime. So that was a plus 400 that if they don't miss the Titans miss the extra point to send it to overtime, the plus 400 would have hit. And then they had the lead in overtime, and they let the Colts just like easily walk down and score a touchdown to win the game. But honestly, I gotta say, Minshew is freaking good. He's not. That dude is not a backup. I don't think.
I wanted him on the Jets. I wanted them.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I was campaigning for it, but Woody Johnson, he didn't take my call. He didn't take my call.
That would have been a nice look, but
we gotta wait.
Here we are. So
gotta wait until Gary V is the
until Gary V buys the team,
buys the Jets, and then I'll DM him on Twitter.
Okay. All right. I think I got one. How about you?
Yeah. You go first. You speak to the people, and let's. And then I'm gonna give you. Then I have one.
I'm gonna give you a 3-legger, and we're going big this week because I think these teams win. So let's go Texans minus. By the way, how are the Texans only minus 3.5 at the Jets? Zach Wilson coming back in, move the line down that much. Like it was 6.5. I think
Zach Wilson set the line and
this is
put the wrong number.
This is I don't tell you what this is. This is like one of those sharp traps. You know what I'm talking like. This is like a game where like all the sharps are going to be like, this is a Jets game, and then they're just going to lose by like 14. Like that's what's going to happen. So Texans minus 200. The Bears plus 150. Throw them in. I really like this spot this week for the Bears. Coming out of the bye, revenge for the first game where they thoroughly outplayed the Lions. Mm-hmm. Lions defense is really overrated. It's not good.
No.
And the Bears have I don't know if you know this, top 3 rushing defense in the league. So they contain that Lions rushing attack. That's what they did in the first game. That's how they built that lead. Mm-hmm. They forced turnovers and they contained the rushing. They forced Goff to keep throwing the ball, and that's what ended up being disaster. So I like the Bears plus 150. Throw them in. And I'll finish off with the Broncos, the team that I love. So if you throw those 3 in, Denver, Houston, and Chicago, that's plus 750. How about that's a pocket change parlay right there, plus 750.
That's a good one.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. Let me do some math with you real quick. You got the parlay calc up?
I can get it up right now.
I'm going to need... I'm not going to tell you the people yet. I just need minus 265.
Okay.
On that.
Minus 265 is the first.
And I need minus 140.
Minus 140.
What am I looking at right now?
Oh, at that, just with those two? You're looking at around plus 135.
That's not pocket change enough.
Not enough. The 265 is killing it. That's why.
Yeah.
The lower.
Let's add on plus 145.
Plus 145. Now you're at plus 500.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
All right. So let's talk about this one then, because some of these, 2 of them we have already, which is Tim Elliott.
That's the minus 140.
Is going to be Tim Elliott minus 140. We think that is a slam dunk.
Sweet.
Then we have Andre Muniz. We talked about all the reasons why.
Yep.
And he'll be the plus 145 spot. And then we're going to go to Mel Quizal Costa.
Okay.
Over Steve Garcia. We'll just take the money line there. Costa is a dangerous man.
Yes.
Excellent striking, good head movement, good footwork. He's fast. Steve Garcia, powerful puncher, doesn't defend basically anything. Whether it's takedowns, whether it's strikes to the face. So, Garcia's going to come out and he's going to try to end this fight quick. If he does not, that is going to be a very, very long night for Steve Garcia.
Oof.
So
Okay.
Costa will be rounding it out at minus 265.
I like it.
And that ends up being
plus 500 for that pocket change price. So you got a plus 750 and a plus 500. And just remember, as we wrap up, those are always just for fun.
Yes.
Like plus 750. Don't get upset when that doesn't hit.
Yeah.
The Broncos lose by 30. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like that's your fun. We work hard on a lot of this stuff, so you got to have a little bit of fun.
These are never in the cards, by the way. These
exactly.
are never we're never.
These are not like real big bets for us.
Yeah, we're not putting these out.
Sometimes we'll have a parlay of the week on Sunday, but it's usually 2 legs.
Right. We're not putting these in the newsletter. We're not putting these in anything.
Yeah.
Besides having fun right here. So
yes, sir.
Don't go nuts.
Dope. All right, brother. That's another week in the books. We covered NFL. We covered the NBA Cup. We covered UFC Fight Night. We did talk about Army Navy. We covered that too. So we did everything for you guys. Every single thing. The only thing we didn't cover some hockey, but you know what? there are some profitable hockey systems. Maybe one of these weeks will, when things die down after football,
right,
I'm going to hit you with some hockey gems. We're up like over 10 units in hockey so far, quietly. I don't talk about it, but killing hockey so far.
I'm not trying to brag.
I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to brag.
NHL. Actually, it's funny that there's like every year you get hit with like one red sport. Like when you start doing this like full time professionally, like you'll see like, all right, if you're good, you'll be like positive ROI amongst most sports. There's always like one that's like, oh, that one got me this year.
Yep.
Last year was hockey. But then whenever that happens, I expect the next year for that one to go green and a different one to go red.
Yeah.
So this year, hockey's really green. And last year, the one that was super green was college hoops. And now that's red. So, but it's early. It's obviously very early, but it's like red for now.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how that works. And we'll definitely do
hockey. The season before though.
Oh yeah, we killed it the season before. That was like one of our best seasons in any sport ever. Yeah, in any sport.
Insanity.
Yeah, that was a crazy hockey year. That was like you don't really get those. Like all the playoff futures won. Knights. Like everything won. Yeah,
it was like I remember we were like cashing on Golden Knights. Like
it was insane. It was insane. All right, guys, love you. See you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Later.